So you guys saw in the last video, got the turbo on there. Now today, what I'm going to do is get those coolant lines hooked up like I kind of explained in the last video. I figured in this video I'd show you exactly how to do it so there's no confusion. The car's also still pretty loud with it being just a straight open dump on the turbo, so I'm going to merge the elbow that I made in the last video, just merge it with the downpipe that I already have and just weld it together. That way it'll be straight through all the way out, and then we'll be good to go. So stay tuned. In the last video, I kind of explained here what we're going to do with all this. So there's the turbo I put on the last video. If you guys didn't watch that, my water ports here and on that side right there. The problem that I have with this setup that you may not have with yours is right there's the stud for the manifold, and you can see it's pretty close to where that's going to sit for the banjo fitting. Now I've already made my lines. These are the lengths, and I'll show you which one's going to go to where. There's the banjo fittings. If you guys don't know what a banjo fitting is, really quick. Basically it's like a bolt that's got a hole, and it runs down the center of it. So the coolant or whatever, fuel, whatever you use banjo fitting for, goes through here, and then it comes out the sides. Then when it goes inside here, so same thing, coolant, fuel, whatever, is going to go through here, and then it's going to come out the sides. Or it can be vice versa as well. Your coolant will come through here, run around this, go through that hole, and then out. So they work either way. And there's like a little piece inside here that runs around. That's why it looks like a banjo. That's why they call it a banjo fitting. So the water will run around this and then out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just flip these banjos, the factory ones on the thermostat housing, we'll flip those around so I can show you which direction they go, and then put the corresponding ones into the turbo, and that'll complete the, I say circuit, but that'll complete the route for the coolant to go through the turbo and then keep it cooler. So like I said in the other videos, with turbos that have ports for coolant or for water to flow through them, I would definitely recommend doing that. Just run the water through it. Don't run it without it, because you have like those hot little areas inside the turbo that can cause some issues. If they're there, use them. They're there for a reason. So, but this is pretty easy, especially for this car. I know already a lot of you guys have hit me up for that last video, like saying that you guys are stoked that I did this with the 7MGE, and that not a lot of people talk about it anymore, or they're afraid to do it because it's going to blow a head gasket or do something. Trust me, I've had this car turboed for a long time, and I've never had any issues. Obviously, I took the necessary precautions, and I've had the motor built and everything beforehand to support this, so I won't be blowing head gaskets, and that way it's safe. But enough about that. Let's hurry and get the coolant lines done so you guys can see how that works. So before you dive into this, I would recommend draining some of the coolant. It is the top of the system, so you want to drain the whole radiator and overflow and all that stuff, but just make sure you drain enough, because you are going to take this rubber hose off right here, and the thermostat housing in this could be filled with coolant, water, whatever, and it could just start draining out. So I'm gonna go ahead and just drain a little bit just to try to bring that level down, and then we'll pull them off. Alright, hopefully my lighting's still good. The construction crew across the street decided to begin cutting and dumping rock and stuff. So anyways, and don't be dumb. Just completely drain all the antifreeze. I started taking that lower banjo off, and it just started dumping antifreeze everywhere. So just take the extra time and just drain the whole system so you don't have to worry about it and then potentially have crap stuck in there. Okay, this is what we're left with. So this one's going to be your upper one. Obviously that one's your lower one, and that's the bolt that goes with that. A lot of gunk in them just from it, you know, sitting, whatever it may be. I mean, there's a ton of just nasty just stuff in there. So I'm going to take some time to clean both these out. I'm going to clean some of that rust off there. Same thing with this. It's looking a little rough. So I'm going to clean all this out. You can see it's just kind of rusted. So that should all clean off fairly easy. All right, and then one thing to keep in mind with the lower one, so the one that's on the back side of the thermostat housing, there's going to be a little lip on here. So when you go to tighten this down, this lip will kind of catch, and that way you can tighten this bolt down and this thing won't spin. You're going to need to cut that off because you're going to flip this around and the bolt's going to go the other way. So you're going this way on factory, you're going to flip it around, and you're going to go this way with the new setup. So the bolt's going to go in that way. This way is going to be facing back towards the turbo. So you're going to have to cut that lip off or you're not going to be able to put this bolt in. But it's okay. Once you cut it off, just make sure you get this tight. It will move a little bit when you're tightening it down. Just hold it in place. Tighten that bolt down, the banjo bolt, and you're good to go. Okay, so there you go. It's all pretty much cleaned up. Sprayed some stuff through here just to clean that out. The other one, clean the rust off. It's a little pitted. I mean, this stuff's old. It's been on the car for ever, its whole life, right? Banjo bolt, same thing. Clean that up. Cleaned up the corresponding one. And we're good to go. We're gonna go ahead and throw it on the car now. Okay, so it's ideal to put new crush washers. That's these little copper looking things. They look okay. I'm just going to reuse them. If they leak, I'll replace them. But so this is going to go this way. You can see it fits between the distributor and then this little temperature sensor. So any look kind of between the two there. Put this bolt in here. Remember, there's a crush washer on both sides of the bolt. Okay, so there's your first one. So instead of it going this way, it's just now going that way. All right, I pulled this one back off, decided to just hit it with some spray paint just to make it look a little bit nicer. It was kind of in rough shape. So we'll go ahead and throw this one. It's in pretty good condition. Make sure you get your crush washers on there or it's not gonna seal. Okay, there you go. So you can see it just points right back to where it needs to go. Hurry and throw that one back on with it all painted, and then you get the lines on. Always torque your bolts to spec. Okay, we'll see if we can see that. So there's your banjo fitting right there. That runs down through here, around my power steering stuff, and then right up to the banjo fitting. So there's the first one. Now we'll go ahead and do that second one. You can see it a little bit better right there. Look the other one up. This one's kind of a pain because it's kind of a tighter fit right there. So hopefully I can do it without taking the turbo back off. Right, well, not a bad deal. So again, there's your one, there's the other one, banjo, banjo. There you go. Now, it shouldn't matter which side goes to which side. So the lower one going to the right side of the turbo or the left side of the turbo, it's just flowing through. So as long as you don't have some weird block or something, it'll be fine. In this case, it just lines up because the lower one lines up with the driver's side of the turbo and the upper one lines up with the passenger side of the turbo. So it just all lines up. It's almost like it was made that way. So now what I'm going to do is bleed the system, make sure I get all the air out, burp it, bleed it, whatever you want to call it. I've got one of those cool little funnels that you keep it topped off, but I want to make sure all the air gets worked out of this. I don't have any air pockets inside the turbo or somewhere else to where it could not run the water through the turbo and then have issues on later on down the road. We're going to go ahead and do that. I got to let it idle with that open dump. It's going to be pretty loud, so you guys can just watch and listen to some good music. I ended up there for the night after I dumped all of the antifreeze all over my motor, and the funnel fell out and dumped antifreeze all over my floor. At that point, I was just done for the night. So I got the rest of the fittings hooked up, made sure hose clamps were on everything, and I've since bled the system again and haven't had any issues. So here we are. There it all is. Got good coolant in there. This thing's topped off. Good there. I don't have any leaks on any of this stuff here. Hose clamps there. I got the hose clamp there, and the other side's all done and tucked in there with the hose clamp in there. I thought I'd just hurry and finish off with putting the rest of the downpipe on the car. So you saw in the last video, it's just a straight dump right now. So I've got to get that to the rest of the exhaust to put that out the back, because tomorrow we're gonna be filming another video and Scott's gonna be there with me. And we're going to do some experimenting with this guy right there. Stay tuned for that video. It's going to be a good one. Should be pretty interesting. I'm going to hurry and lift the car up so I can get to the bottom of it. And that way I can kind of mock up the exhaust, that elbow that I need to get to fit up to the rest of the exhaust. That's right there. And should be good to go. So here we go. Okay. Going to the car here. Okay, so that right there is my dump tube from a wastegate, and right there is the downpipe. So I've got to match it up to that right there and up there. It should make my life a little bit easier. So let me bolt that other one up and we'll see where we're at. If any of you guys have ever done exhaust, you know it's a lot of take off, put back on, test fit, that sort of thing. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm not filming it because it's kind of hard to run the camera and then do all this. I need like 4 hands. So this is where I'm at so far. You can see the rest of the downpipes right here, and this portion is gonna go right here like that. And it's kind of hard to see, but it's pretty close. What I'm going to do is use these pie cuts with it a little bit. I'm going to take these apart, and I'm going to use these to get that last little bend that I need. Should work for right now until I get the other welder up and running, and then get the rest of the exhaust done the way I want it to and get it to fit the right way. So this is all fitting pretty well. The turbo's a little bit pushed back on my manifold, so it's hard to make those like pretty tight bends. That's why I've got to do the pie cuts. It should turn out pretty good once I get it all mocked up, and then I'll weld it out. All right, here's an update. Update! Not a professional welder by any means. This is what I got. I had to do a bunch of pie cuts because that's where it's supposed to meet up. There, to the back of this. And the only way to do it would be to do this. It's a lot of work, but it should turn out pretty good for now until I do the whole rest of the exhaust later on.
12 seconds later.
I'm done trying to figure this out. It's taking way too long. So I'm going to do some of that cool YouTube magic where you snap your fingers and then it just appears. We'll try that. Oh man, what do you know? It works. All joking aside, this has taken quite a while. Trying to figure out all the little pie cuts and things, trying to get it to bend up and around the firewall into the back of the turbo. So it's all done now. Fits. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and weld it out really quick. Get it wrapped with the heat tape, or the heat wrap stuff, and then call it good. Might try to hurry and route the wastegate dump back into the exhaust so it's not as loud, but we'll see if I have time for that. Thought I'd do just one last test fit before I got it all welded up. You can see it all in there, all the weird little pie cuts and angles to bring it away from the firewall, then down to the rest of it. And underneath here, if you can see it, it's tucked up there pretty nice. It's all bolted in. Right there's the lowest point. And that's the frame rail. So just barely below that, not a big deal. Also, it's extremely hot, so I'm running out of energy. So I'm gonna hurry and just get this done super quick, wrap it really quick, and call it a night. This has turned into an all-day project. It's all right though, needed to be done. Ran out of welding wire, so that's good. But I will grab some in the morning, hurry and finish this downpipe, get it chucked on the car, and then we're gonna head up the canyon and get some more videos. Yeah, like always. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one.